Hey everyone, I'm Zen Bake, this is Auto Group.
And I'm Warren.
And this is the 2019 Lexus RC300 all-wheel drive. So it's not the fully powerful V6 that you get in the 350, which is the 3.5 liter V6 that makes the 311 horsepower. This one makes more like 260 horsepower, but it does have decent torque, probably very similar to the RC350, and in all-wheel drive you get the V6. If you were to get the RC300 in rear-wheel drive, then you get the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with 240 horsepower. So this is the non-F Sport trim. So you get these really good looking, like brushed chrome, matte chrome type wheels that look really good, and with this like flat black color, they look really nice. And now the fish hook type design, you know, the Nike swoosh, is now inside the whole LED light housing instead of being separate. And you still get this mesh grille, even though this isn't the F, kind of like similar to the LC500 where it starts tight and then gets bigger and bigger as you go to the bottom. It has chrome lining in the front with the spindle grille. It looks really good. Let's move towards the side of the car and the rear of the car.
Active, right?
I think that's fake. I don't know. Are they real? Fake. They're fake. Okay, you can talk about it.
So, as you can see, this car on the rear has a dual exhaust tip. It does unfortunately have fake air vents on the rear, but they do look really cool with this new design they have on the rear tail lights, with this darkened tinted look that they have. And you can see the little swoosh that they also have in the front. They brought it back in the rear, and there's actually a little outline right here that you can follow along the side of the car. Let's take a look at the trunk space. It opens up greatly because it's not power operated, so it just opens up nice and smooth. And it goes back in pretty deep, and you have a good storage loading space right here. It also comes with the cargo neck. And when you want to close it, it's nice and heavy, you know. Pretty solid.
That's really good. This car has a pretty good, interesting exhaust sound as well for just a non-active exhaust car. I think it sounds pretty good. Take a listen. It has a pretty sensitive throttle input as well. Like as soon as you even touch on it a little bit, that's really good and nice and responsive. I'm pretty sure they did this because this is not the most powerful trim of the car, but they still want it to feel nice and punchy, and that's great. I really appreciate that. So anyways, let's go on the build. Alright, so immediately what you notice is that this car is nice and tight in terms of suspension. And that's really good. I really like that because when you're getting a car like this, that's not the fully loaded one or the most powerful engine, you still gotta have obviously what the car shows on the outside, because it is a rear-wheel drive platform coupe, right? The steering? Oh yes, let's get it, guys. The power it has power tilt and telescopic steering wheel, which is something that even the IS350 of this current generation almost, which is like a year old, didn't have power tilt and telescopic steering wheel, which is crazy. But we got it, and I'm really grateful. Thank God. This car needed these updates a lot, and they did do that. They even put metal trim on the door panels, which is great. And it has a bottom connected accelerator pedal, and it still has the issue that I have with the bottom connected pedal. That's the fact that it doesn't really line up with your foot all that well. But man, the steering is decently quick. It's not razor sharp obviously, but it's pretty good. This is the non-F Sport, right? This is the non-crazy suspension one and everything, and still it handles decently well. But it still has that Lexus float over bumps, which is great, and that's what you want since this isn't the F Sport one. So at the same time of being tight and controlled in terms of the body movement of the car, it still has the nice supple ride quality that you expect from Lexus, which is great.
So the scale that we're going to be using for this coupe is 6 feet 1 inch. So for a guy like me who's actually above 6 feet and 1 inch, we're going to be seeing that there's going to be an intrusion of the headroom a little bit, but it's okay, you know, because with the seat coming back to another person that's also above 6 feet, we have knees that are coming off to the side, so no one really sits unusually with their knees right behind the seat like that, and it might not even actually be kind of safe in case of a crash. So having your knees off to the side like this, with your back fully against the backrest, is actually kind of comfortable. Although I do have some intrusion on the head, but it's okay, you know, it's comfortable, and it's just a little sacrifice you're gonna have to make.
In terms of handling, okay, so since this car is naturally aspirated, it probably isn't as punchy as the 2-liter turbocharger is in this car, because we have experienced the turbocharged 2-liter in the Lexus GS and the NX, and in those cars I thought it drove great. We all did. But in this car with the 3.5-liter, the thing about it is that there is delay, first of all, in throttle response a little bit at high speeds, because of the transmission that this car has, which is a 6-speed automatic. But it still does a good job at delivering the power, and it's no slouch at all. I think it drives pretty well. What do you think, especially in the back?
So for a backseat passenger in this coupe, the suspension is actually pretty soft. You know, just like any other casual Lexus, this is a coupe, and yes, it may not be as sporty, so it doesn't have the super stiff suspension, although it does have a very comfortable suspension, and being in the most rear part of this vehicle, it's actually not that bad, and it doesn't jump you around, but like I was saying about the headroom, it does kind of jump you up a little bit, so you might hit your head a little bit on the roof, just a little bit.
Right. Anyways, well, it's not downshifting for some reason. I'm pretty deep into the accelerator pedal, but it didn't downshift, which is interesting. But you know what? It's not too big of a deal. You know what's pretty impressive about this car? It has some steering response. Great about this car, it sounds fantastic and it goes really good. It is not underpowered at all, but it would drive even better if it had the 8-speed transmission. It would just shift a tiny bit better, but I still think that it drives great, and it catches highway speed effortlessly, and it's very fun and rewarding to drive this car because it has such tight handling even for the non-F Sport trim. It's excellent about this car. Pushes you back in your seat pretty good. Oh, it let the revs hang in 4,000, 5,000 RPM. Hey, that's pretty good, right?
Yeah, man, I can see that when you put your foot on the gas, and it really gets up and goes.
Right. Now, put it to manual. Such a sporty sound. That's pretty good. The sound is very impressive.
Yeah, I did so.
Okay.
Suspension is tight. The this new BMW, you know, the style they have of the
turn signal?
Yeah, the turn signal is a little weird for me because I'm not used to that. And I noticed that, you know, it's in a lot of the more sports vehicles that they have. these days with the new style of the steering wheel and everything, right? The gas pedal bottom connected and all that, which is great and all, but it takes a little getting used to if you're maybe ever coming from a non-sports vehicle to, you know, a coupe, if anything. And it's a nice tight steering, dude. I really enjoy the steering and the gas pedal. It's just, you know, the things that need to work properly are working outstanding, if anything.
So you know, you can go buy this car at Art Cool's dealership, McGrath Lexus of Westmont, anytime. Of course, right now, I guess they just got this car in from another dealership, and it says temporarily not for sale. But of course, we reviewed it today, and now when you go and buy it from, of course, Art, because that's the person you have to go to, right? After that, when you buy it, you're gonna be like, hey, you know what? This is a special car because it has been reviewed by Outer Group, and you'll see your car on the internet after you buy it, and you could tell everyone to go subscribe mainly, and then you can of course show them your car. But most importantly, subscribe and like, and report the negative comments. No, I'm just kidding. You shouldn't report them, right?
Yeah, always leave a like.
Always leave a like. Yeah, anyways, thank you so much for watching this episode of Auto Group. Make sure to like and subscribe for weekly videos, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
पीछे तो देख